welcome back to my channel. Good morning, vlogsters. Look, I'm sitting up and I got a regular cup like a normal person. Thank you again to Wendy from White Sparrow Living, Luke 12:6, who sent me this. It says, prayer changes everything. And then on this side, it says, pray without ceasing. From 1 Thessalonians 5:17, I want to say, because I think it was my mom's birthday. I feel like, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me get glasses, because the glasses are very far away from me for some reason. I forgot to bring them over when I started, because menopause, cancer, Alzheimer's, all the things. Just wrecked the place. It's no big deal. I have a little this basket. I was like, oh, it's a good idea to have this little basket just to collect like little things that I need every day, and it slides all over the table, so it's not a good idea. Yes, 1 Thessalonians 5:17, like I said, that's my mom's birthday, so it made me very happy. But look, it's coffee. And I'm not going to lie, it's my second cup of the day, but I haven't had a second cup in such a long time. I can't even imagine. I can't even remember. Probably the last time I sat up and vlogged with you guys. With a regular coffee cup. So, here it goes. You know, I don't know about you guys, but we always talk about coffee tasting better when someone else makes it. There is like a gift behind it. There is like a blessing behind it, or a gift behind it, or you feel like just like, oh, it's coffee's made with love. But when it's put in a cup that was given to you through love, about love, it just makes the coffee taste that much better. I feel like I'm on Kona, Hawaii, drinking the best cup of coffee that was ground and grown just a month ago, or however long that coffee takes to dough. You know what I mean? So good morning. I feel really good this morning. I've already had my breakfast. I had the last piece of quiche. Mom had eaten the rest, and I guess tomorrow's like the day it would have gone in the garbage, so she had a piece this morning, so I had the last piece. I found out we were saving it for each other. We do that a lot. I was saving it for you. But I didn't see any comments from the video I posted yesterday yet. I'm sure they are out there. But I posted a video on my main channel about not letting social media change you. Now, I don't say that I've not changed at all because of social media. I mean, I really don't feel like I have much if I did. I think one of the things it's done is remind me, then the change that it's made in me, I should say, is that I used to really care what people thought about me. No, not thought about me. I used to really care that people liked me. I used to try to make everybody like me. And that is something I realized in the past couple of years, that it's not my job. It's not my job to try to get people to like me. It's not my job to worry about whether or not people like me. It's not my job to try to present a likable image of myself. It's just myself to be myself. Like I've been myself this whole time. And what people are like, oh, you're different, you're changed. I'm like, yeah, because I learned something. And hopefully when you learn a lesson, it does change you. You don't want to be walking the crooked path the whole way and then find out about the straight path and then keep walking the crooked path. That doesn't even make sense. So yeah, change makes people different. So yeah, I'm going to be different. And every day I learn something, and every day I grow. I was talking about some of the negativity, and not on purpose. Like I was asked a question in the comments. And for you guys don't know, I was doing comments every day, and then I started treatment again, and it's just been a little bit of an impossible journey to do it every day. So it's every couple of days. Well, it happened to catch that it seemed like 3 days, because I did Tuesday till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then Tuesday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I got a comment, and I couldn't get to it till Thursday, which was just the day after tomorrow. However, it looked like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So it was kind of like it looked like 3 days or whatever. So the person was kind of persistent, and like every day they would come and say, why haven't you answered my question yet? And I could tell that the tone, it seemed like the tone, or other people in the comments perceived the tone to be very negative. And I didn't. I just was like, at first I was just like, oh, I'll answer the question. Because what I do when I read the comments is I don't read the last one. I read the first one. I go all the way back to like the last time I read comments, and I go, oldest to newest. So to my mind, it was just a question. It was just, I answered it straight up, The question was about the night that the night that Jim made the ham and noodle casserole. And I said I wasn't going to eat it. And when he came in the door, he was very upset. And I said, how was dinner? And he started like throwing things and slamming things. And I said, oh my God, what happened? And I turned the camera off. I did edit out him throwing things and slamming things because I didn't think anybody really needed to know what was going on. Because with Jim, unless it's something that affects me or relates to me, I don't share his stuff. I let him share his stuff. If he's frustrated about something with his mom or with work, I might say Jim was frustrated about work, but I won't share into details necessarily unless he's already shared it with you. Or if he asks me to. Sometimes he'll just be like, you tell them because I don't want to. I said, okay. So this was one of those instances. So the way I edited it as I was asking him how was dinner. And somebody said, why did you say you weren't going to eat the dinner, but then your mother-in-law came in, or then you were asked how dinner was? I'm confused. And I was like, I was confused by the question because nobody came and asked me how dinner was. So I had to like go back and watch the video, and I was like, oh, at the 15:11 mark, that was me asking Jim how dinner was. And they were like, no, it's obvious. And I was like, okay, well, if it seems obvious to you, don't, your ears aren't playing tricks on you, but I know what happened. I was here. So I kind of started to get sarcastic about it because then they started to get like snippy about it. And this conversation isn't about this story. This conversation is about this conversation isn't about the story. This conversation is about why. I want to say something that I find to be sort of a piece of information that it might be lacking in many people. I understand there's a lot of stuff against me right now, and I don't watch it or pay attention to it anymore. The only way that I notice it is when it's bombarded with me. And yesterday was a day of bombardment. I'm not going to get into details about the bombardment, and it wasn't about these comments. It wasn't about this particular question, but it was other things that just bombarded me. I felt almost like, did they get together and say, hey, on the 19th of August, we're going to throw a whole bunch of stuff at her and attack her at every turn? So there is just so much what I would call misunderstanding, but I don't necessarily think that's what it was. I think people have a preconceived notion that I'm a liar and that I'm fake, and whenever they hear something that sounds even the slightest bit 100% unclear, they will go ahead to the default lying and, fakeness. So I can understand why they're thinking that, if that's their default. What I have trouble with is trying to figure out why that's their default. The reason I wanted to post Don't Let Social Media Change You is because I feel like these people aren't really like this. And these people haven't always been like this. These people have been scared into it, or maybe had some doubt, but people fed their doubt, or maybe had, some disdain for me, and then people fed that, and it grew and grew and grew. And one of the things that one of my subscribers asks a lot of people with the hate comments when they say really disgusting things to me is, would your children or your children's children be proud of you that you said this? And I think it's a very poignant question, because I've told you guys thousands of times, I live my life like trying to make my family proud. I've done that forever. Is it about seeking validation? Possibly. Is it about trying to be better than the generation before me? Maybe. I have no idea what my motivation is for doing it, but my motivation has always been to make my family proud. Whether it was my mom and dad at the time, now it's my sisters, my cousins, whoever. I want people to say, oh, Jeri-Ann Henson, she's my cousin. I am so proud of her. Like, that's what my goal has always been in life. I guess validation, maybe. Maybe it's being there was 22 grandkids, 23 grandkids, and I am, like, gosh, really towards the bottom. I am actually the beginning of the end. I know it's going to sound weird, but there is a consistent birth plan. Like, my aunts and my mom, and there was like a consistent birth plan, and everybody was just having babies, year after year after year. And not exactly calendar year, but like if they weren't, before the next baby was born, the person was pregnant type of situation. So there is like this succession of if my mom wasn't having babies, my aunt was having babies. If my, that aunt wasn't having babies, the other aunt was having babies. And in 1967, in November of 1967, it kind of came to a halt. I told you guys that my mom had a stillborn in 1969. From 1967 to 1970, when I was born, there was a gap where even though my mom was pregnant, she lost the baby. So there was like no births there. So I was the beginning of the next trend. My mom's younger siblings. My mom was the bottom half of the top. The top of the bottom half of the siblings. Like, she had three older siblings. She was the top of the three younger siblings. So my mom started with me the succession of the siblings below her. I know my aunt, my oldest aunt, got pregnant and had a miscarriage in 1974, which was after, like, in the midst of all this. But that also would have been like a baby. In 1974, her youngest before the pregnancy would have been like how difference between me and my brother Rob were, like 11, 12 years. So there was like a 3-year gap, and then I was born, and then my cousin Carrie and my cousin Beth, and then it went on like Beth, and then John and Holly. They were kind of born at the same time, or Holly and then John. Holly might be older. And then like it continued there. So I was like so I kind of felt like I was far removed from these people, and the people who were below me didn't live by us. And that was another thing. My cousins, who were like the same ages as my brothers and sisters, they all lived like with us or in the neighborhood, or like had recently moved type of situation. My cousins that were below us lived in like Queens, and then eventually some of them moved to California, and it was just like a whole different dynamic. So we have cousins on the low half. Cousins on the upper half were 57, 59, 57, 56, no, 13 years, so 57. So 57, 58, 59, 57, 59. That can't be right. How is that right? Hold on a second. Give me a second. Sorry. That's not right. So it has to be 55. I thought that was 13 years difference. Maybe it's 56. That's 14 years difference. I always thought there was 13 years difference between me and my eldest cousin. My sister Jane will know. My sister Alicia's probably yelling at the camera right now, and my sister Jane will know. But so it was 56, 58, 59, 60. There was 2 and 60, 2 and 61, 1 and 60. No. Man, am I messing this up? 1 in 61, 1 in 62, 1 in 63, 1 in 64, 1 in 65, 1 in 66, 1 in 67. Then the 2 in 66, 2 in 67. And then the break, it was 70, 71, 72, 74, 75, 76 was actually my second oldest cousin's first child. So even though he was my second cousin, he was still in that order. And then a break before my brother was born in 82. And my cousin was born in 82. And then a big break before my other cousin was born in the 2000s. I want to say it was 2002, but I'd have to go back and actually remember really hard. And I apologize to Ellen Mary. So, but at that time, like grandkids were being born. The generation of grandkids, there was tons of those too. So, like my brother, my cousin was born in 82. At the end of the year, when the end of 82, my brother was born in July of 82. My cousin was born in December of 82, excuse me. And then the grandkids started in 86, like the next generation. So the oldest one was born in 76, and then 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 90. Is anybody? Yeah, 91, right? That's KG. 91, 92. There was 3 kids born in 92. 2 of my nephews and 1 of my cousin's kids. Then 93, there was 2. And 94, there was 4. 3, 2, 3. 3 for sure. There's definitely not 4. Definitely 3 for sure. There's no 4. And then like 95, there was 1. And 96, there was 1. And 97, there was 1. And then 98, but at the end of 98. And then nobody was born in 99. Yeah, nobody was born in 99. I think the next one was born in 2003. If my memory serves me correctly. So you, like, with Irish Catholic families, and by the way, this is all on my mom's side. My dad was an only child, and I have second and third and fourth cousins there, but this is all on my mom's side. So there was like a lot of births being, and then there was like a space, and then there was a space, and I was at the top of that space, and then there was a space, and my brother Rob and my one cousin were like that space by themselves. Anyway, so I felt like not lost necessarily, but I didn't really have anybody my age to connect with and that type of thing. And I have no idea why I started this whole story. I'm gonna remember them. I will, I promise. Oh, it was getting people to be proud of me, to be approved, to search for validation constantly. I was always this one's little sister, this one's little cousin, this one's little niece, this one's little nephew. I was never anybody's little nephew. Oh my God, my brain. I was always this one's little sister, or this one's little cousin, or this one's little niece. I was never myself. Like, I never got to be just me until I was an adult. Like, really, I started, even when I was 16, I got a job where nobody knew me. Nobody in my family had ever worked there before, which was amazing. My sisters went to go work at the clam bar where my brother used to work. So they were, Pete's little sisters. Excuse me. But I kind of felt like the beginning. Now, when I started at AHRC, my cousin brought me to like an interview, and I was working with her when I was training, and then I was working with her in the house, but eventually we went our separate ways in the industry. And I, went on my own and did my own thing, and then she eventually came around to do with me, and then eventually things flip-flopped and all that stuff. So Um, but for the first time when I was 16 and I went and got a job by myself, well, I wasn't by myself, I was with Sharon. I was nobody's little anything. You know what I mean? I was just me. I was just Jeri-Ann. And I was funny. People thought I was funny. People thought I was nice and kind and, you know, pretty. Who knew that they thought I was pretty? I didn't know at the time. But I could not reinvent myself, but I could finally be myself. You know, people are always like, oh, you reinvent. No, I don't reinvent myself. I was me, finally. I could just let myself be myself. I could shine and be who I am. You would think it would even be that way in school, but it wasn't. I had teachers that were previous teachers of my siblings, and the coaches were previous coaches of my siblings, and, you know, the principal, the dean of students, the social studies teacher, the English teacher. Oh, I had your sister. I had your sister. I had your brother. You know, whatever it was. My brother's 10 years older than me, so when I had a teacher that was his teacher, we're like, whoa, you're old, you know, but hey, what are you going to do? Anyhow, it was the first time that I really felt like I got to shine. The other time was when I joined the marching band. I never had any siblings. My siblings were never in the marching band. My cousin was for a minute, I think, she said. I think she held the lantern when she was really, really little. But my siblings were never in the marching band. So the marching band, however, was run by my mom's friend at the time. So I did know people, and they did know me, but because they didn't know anybody who knew my mom, like, they knew my mom, but the people that they worked with didn't know my mom, so they knew I was Katie's daughter, but, like, she couldn't turn to somebody and be like, this is Katie's daughter, if that makes sense. So I finally got to be myself, you know what I mean? Like, I found that I liked being myself. I love at this stage being identified as somebody's sibling, because it gives me a connection to people that I would never be connected to otherwise. However, it also, you know, it takes away some of your identity. And I don't think the older brothers and sisters are aware of that necessarily, because, you know, whether you're the firstborn, especially, but when you're the second born too, you know, you can very rarely have somebody that someone else had, or especially in big areas, you know, like big high schools, you know, my brother played sports, my sister took French, and art. So it's like, you know, they didn't really have a lot of teachers in common. But I played sports like my sister before me, and I did art like my other sister before me. And I got in trouble like the other sister before me. So it's kind of like, just kidding. Anyhow, that I feel like possibly the need for everybody to like me or to make people proud stems from this whole upbringing. Again, I'm not mad at my upbringing. I love my upbringing. I wouldn't change any of it, because it would not make me who I am or where I am. I would not be where I am if any path was taken differently. I just am starting to realize with, I don't know if it's the whole, like, I don't know. As much as I know that I am going to kick this disease's butt, and I know that I am his, and I know where I belong, and I am solid in my faith and in myself, I still sometimes get the thought that this is the end. Like, this is the beginning of the end. Because I've given a diagnosis of no cure, just care. It sometimes comes upon me and I start to get, like, philosophical, or I start to get melancholy, or I start to get nostalgic of one thing or another. I know I have plenty more time to live, and I have plenty more things that I want to do in that time. But that being said, I can get, you know, I can get sentimental about it. I can get my thoughts get caught up in my thoughts, and it is just that. It's just the way it is. So lately, I've been thinking about, like, when it started, when the hate comments started on YouTube back in, like, 2017 when I first started. Well, I started the end of 16, but the hate comments came right away. I wanted to say, oh no, like, let me just address that and nip that in the butt right here. But I have to tell you, the truth is also, I've been picked on since I'm little. And I know how to defend myself, even though I don't need to get defensive. I know how to stand up for myself, even though you're not worth standing up for. But it's still kind of like an automatic trigger, like a kind of an automatic switch that goes off in me. When I want people to like me. If you say, you know, why do you wear your hair that way? And I don't read, and I just say, why do you wear your hair that way? I will go in and say, well, you know, I always had my hair long, but I was wearing a ponytail, and when I got cancer and I had to be stuck in bed, I just shaved it all off because it was really hard to take care of, and it got tangled up every day. And instead of me being like, because I like it, and it's true, I do. It actually had nothing to do with cancer. I cut my hair when I turned 50, but I shaved it, like big time, shaved it back here because of the bed situation. I made a Skrillex back in 2020 when I, because I turned 50, and after my brother died, I just wanted to like make things as easy as possible and live the life that I wanted to live as a teenager. I thought the kids who wore mohawks and spiked their hair up were just the coolest, and they were free in themselves. And I wasn't like that. I thought I had to present myself as a good girl, because I was, in most parts, very, very good. But I did have a rebellious side. Obviously, we just talked about how I didn't know who I was, really, or I didn't allow myself to be who I was. That's the key right there. So I really just was like envious. I wanted to have spiky hair and shave the sides and it be purple tips. But I wasn't bold enough to have people look at me like that. I was bold enough to be fat and have people look at me like that. Because honestly, I have to tell you the truth. I really felt at a very young age that I didn't have any choice in that matter. I know people are often like, oh, weight is just about diet and exercise. But I have to tell you, if that was the truth, I can't be the truth for everybody. Because I've told you guys, I obviously ate very poorly because we were poor. That's not what I'm trying to say, but I exercised my butt off, and I never got thin. I never got thin until I started a liquid diet, and I didn't even get thin then. I just lost the most weight I ever lost. It was the first time I was below 300 pounds as an adult. I hit 297 when I left high school when I was 17. By the time I was 19, I was 315. And the first time I got back below 300 pounds when I was 23 was when I did this liquid diet that made me terribly ill. It made me terribly ill. Yes. I think I was 23. When did I did Dick Gregory's Bohemian Diet. It was shakes that you it was full of nuts and fiber and all that stuff that you mixed with a banana, and it made me terribly ill. But I lost so much weight doing it. It's great. And because I've been on so many diets before, I know I have the discipline. It's not like I ever I did 2 weeks of discipline and then I decided to give it all up. It was like I do 6 months of discipline and then I hit a plateau for 2 months and I just get so frustrated that I'm like, fuck, I ain't going to do this anymore. Excuse my language. But anyhow, I just always was identified as being the big girl, and I knew that I wanted the attention that came with it, that people would notice me. But then as I got older, I liked them to notice me for the big girl who surprised you, could really move on the dance floor, or who was really self-confident, or who was really beautiful, or whatever. And I'm not trying to be egotistical and call myself beautiful, but that's what people would say about me. And was a really great dresser, or really artistic, or whatever it was. I could just be like, the big girl that was. You know that big girl that is the really good dancer? You know that big girl that is the really whatever? So, smart. Really smart. Oh, apparently we've been talking for more than 20 minutes, because here comes my husband. So go ahead. So as far as that's concerned, That's really what the video is about. You shouldn't let what's on social media change you. I wanted to add something though, unless it's for the better. So we're going to have that conversation tomorrow, and it's probably going to be on the main page. But tomorrow we're probably going to talk about don't let the internet change you unless it's for the better. Okay? Listen, I love you so much. I love you so much. You guys make it worth it. I'm telling you, you really do. I don't know how I get through this journey without you. I know I say it every day. Sound like a broken record. Sounds like fake, whatever. But it is the absolute God's honest truth. It is. It just is. If nobody's told you today that you're loved, please come by around and hear that how much I love you. Because I do. All right? I'm going to start doing that on social media. I think I'm just post a video every day. Just be like, hi, everybody. Love you. Have a nice day. Anyway, take care. God bless. And we'll see you next time. Bye. I forgot to say, as always, take care. God bless. And we'll see you next time. Bye. This is how my sister Julie and I start conversations on FaceTime.